Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Don't you like when people are engaged in gaslighting? When, let's say, you and other people watch the same event occurring in front of your eyes and you draw the conclusion of what you saw, which is very clear and not complicated, and you discuss with your partners, with your friends, what you guys notice, what you saw, and you have a guy telling you that's not what you saw. You saw something else, and you're like, I mean, it was not a matter of really debate what we saw here, but they still try to make you think that what you saw is wrong and what he saw is right. And I say, it's not very complicated. So I have an article here, and it talks about Lloyd Austin. He's a U.S. general. He's in charge of defense in United States, and I don't feel safe with him being in charge over there, just so you know. And that's based on his statements and some of his actions. I think he's not ready. Well, he's there and I'm here, so he's in charge. Now, regarding the war between United States and Russia that occurs on the territory of Ukraine, with the Ukrainian nation being the one actually doing the fighting, but everything else being provided by the United States and through the tentacles of its allies, which are just vassal states. Austin Powers here comes and tells us that actually NATO is not involved whatsoever in the war in Ukraine. And this is like NATO has done, in my assessment, and maybe you can counter me, everything but one thing. So to be involved is not only to be in the field over there, on the territory, shooting a weapon, you know, but for him, because that's no evidence yet, clear evidence to support the claim that NATO forces are on Ukrainian territory, NATO is not involved. So everything else that comes with NATO, Ukraine, Russia is not involvement. It's just, I don't know, he couldn't find a word for it, it's just a denial. This article comes from Sputnik. Oh my God, Russian propaganda here. All right, and it says that US Defense Secretary claims NATO will not be dragged into Ukraine conflict. I think it's already there for some big time. And this is what he says. So Mr. Power said that the NATO military alliance will not be dragged into the Russian-Ukraine conflict, US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said, and I'm quoting, NATO continues to make clear that we will not be dragged into Russia's war. Okay, war of choice, but we will stand by Ukraine as it fights to defend itself. What do you mean you stand by Ukraine? You don't want to be dragged in by Russia's war of choice. Was Russia dragged in? No, we just woke up one morning and said, I think I'm going to go west today. And next time, I don't know, I might go northwest. And then next time I go south. Is that how it was? Okay. See, they don't only think that we are idiots, but they also think that they are geniuses. So it's kind of like the extremes here. Now it says that White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said that the risk of NATO being dragged into the Ukraine conflict is high. Now what do you think, my friends? Let's look at the facts. And then the facts that could be, you know, associated with the war and with Ukraine. Now you fight someone, okay, and you, let's say your neighbor, you get into a scuffle, it doesn't matter how, you attack him, he attacks you, it doesn't really matter, that's beyond the point of conversation. You are in a physical fight, you shoot at him, he shoots at you, you throw grenades, he throws grenades, you do this, you do that, okay. And then you will beat the neighbor. You're stronger, you have more military capabilities. And all of a sudden you have 20 other neighbors who keep sending, let's say, your neighbor weapons because he's running out of ammunition. Now they are sending your neighbor, I don't know, better launchers, better weapons. Moreover, the neighbor taps into your communication, all right, and gives that information to your neighbor, to the one that you're fighting. Then your neighbor, the other neighbors, the 20 neighbors, one of them, which is the United States in this case, gives the other neighbor that you're actually fighting with or against, actually fighting, gives them the coordinates of points where you have troops, where you're going to be located. Let's say I don't shoot from here, I'm going to another room. He gives one of these guys from NATO, gives your neighbor that you're fighting with all the coordinates of where you are, what are you going to do, and all that. Well, the neighbors will come to this neighbor that you're fighting, and he's going to start training, teaching the neighbor how to shoot, how to maneuver, how to attack. Moreover, those guys are going to tell your neighbor how to fight and where to fight and what to hit, based on the information they have collected with their methods of collecting transmission, satellite imagery, and all that. They bring you food, they bring you money, they bring you political support. When you go and you have, I don't know, the association conversation, they go and defend them and they vote all of them to get you out and all that. Now, how do you call this? I mean, are those countries or those neighbors in this case involved in your fight with this guy? Now, besides those NATO countries or those neighbors that do all this for your neighbor that you're beating, they even come in their house and they train them over there. And they give them support, they give them, let's say, you can't shoot at their house anymore, they give them equipment, arms and all that, as I said. So how do you call this? This is not involvement of the 20 neighbors? Because why? Because those neighbors didn't shoot actively at you yet, or there's no evidence yet to really support 100% that they are shooting at you. But on the other hand, the neighbors have volunteers from their families, just volunteers, household members, who go to this neighbor's house and they shoot at you and your family. Now, what do you want me to call that? What do you want me to call that? And this Lloyd Austin, which is low IQ guy, he's a general and he's in the US Army, he's the Secretary of Defense. He tells us that NATO will not be dragged. So all those 20 neighbors tell me, we're not going to be dragged in your fight here, my man. I think you are 99% in the fight already. And I don't think that with that 1% that you didn't shoot a bullet at me yet, as far as I can prove, is the one that is going to just tip the whole scale into now you are involved in the fight. Well, I'm sorry, it's like, let's put it this way. You have, and I'm going to exaggerate, obviously, but I have to make a point so it sounds so stupid. Let's say you have a guy who's just attacking a woman, right? And he starts talking and he starts doing this and he starts and there's no penetration, everything but penetration. But it's not assault, not sexual assault. No, man, I didn't penetrate. I know this terminology and all that. There's no penetration here. He's just touching, he's just grabbing, holding, and so on. But because of that thing, there's no penetration. You can call it a sexual assault, okay? I understand. Sexual assault is touching as well, but or rape. It was not with penetration. That's not it. Or let's say I didn't use. I just used. Even though that's also considered. You can't hide under behind this kind of little semantics here regarding war. You are involved. Now the problem is they are involved. They say no, we're not, which is In this way, it's like, really? What are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna take all those 20 guys that you know you can't take? All you can do is just say, this is it. But the problem is, you have the means to keep all those guys at bay. But those means only the United States can use. You can't use. Only the United States could use it 2 times, and you can't use it. Okay then, don't use it, but at least say that those guys are involved. Don't skirt around it. It's just this way of whistling, and people are believing these statements coming from Austin, and they think they are how should I put it, valid points. They're not involved. NATO is, and it's not going to be involved. I think you are involved. You've been involved from the very beginning when you sent those helmets or those condoms or those whatever. You are involved since then. You helped my enemy. What are you? You're not neutral? You're not on my side? So what's the third option? You tell me what the fuck is the third option. If you're not neutral because you helped my my enemy, and you can't be, that means you're not neutral. You'll be neutral if you don't help anybody, right? You're not on my side, you don't help me, then it's only one more side, one more option. Which one is it? You're involved. You can say, well, it's levels. Well, you know what? You're helping him. That means you support him to fight me. So I'm not going to wait to the last level, 1%, to say, yes, you're involved. No, I will wait for the first % you are involved, not the 99 going to 100, to say, oh, now you're involved. No, the first % that you throw in this fight on the enemy's side, you are involved. Not I'm going to wait until it's... we're not involved. We're 99% involved, but since we're not 100%, we're not involved. No, you're 1%. It's good for me. I have the right to determine that as well, not you. You are the outsider here, inserted in this issue, including you place sanctions on me, and you're not involved. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.